in the book, August 19, 1995. Now going back to Dale Jones is this. He out here with a little bit of oozes and all this kind of thing, and I know his heart is in the right place, but they're a little light in the ass on this type shit. Now they come out with this particular thing, they might win a few battles, but the key to the whole thing is this. The cracker got a disease that can kill you in 48 hours, and you talking about a machine gun? Well, hell, you get sick in 8 hours, so that means you ain't got but 8 hours worth of fighting. The next couple of hours you trying to survive or trying to breathe or something, and wonder about these boys and how it's going to kill you. And they aired the same thing last night on the X-Files. 48 hours again. They showed how this thing wipe you out, and what the monkey was, this boy would spit on you. This is the real deal. So now they're talking on this particular thing because that's called ego. You see. Now you don't want to do it on the way. Now so he's going to tell me, doggone the metaphysics and the spiritual thing. So you're going to wipe out over a couple of million years of spirituality on the earth for a doggone machine gun that the damn Jews manufactured to fight your war. You understand what I'm saying? Yet this man is the doggone author of that. I should not suspect a doggone cat go to the dog pound and hang out with the dogs and gonna use dog methods to fight the dog. He's already outside of his realm. The dog is an expert at being a doggone dog. You understand the concept? That's called ego. And what's happening is this here. And I'm not, see, my whole thing is I don't attack anybody to go stand up. Hell, if you want to go out there and get your head blowed off, Liz, you did something. I just figure you're supposed to fight smart and not hard. But I don't attack any of that, but my whole key is this here. You're going to outrule any spirituality whatsoever. You see what I'm saying? All of this particular stuff that has come down the pipe, and we are actually gaining grounds. And yet, my mate done killed 2 or 3 of these. We done killed 2 or 3, 4, 5 crackers and stuff in doggone January on 12/12. Yet he ain't killed nobody yet. You understand what I'm saying? Now, I know that's getting a bit too graphic for you, but you got to understand what's really going down. It's about the spirituality, and when I get into certain things tonight, you will see these particular things is actually going down. So what I want to do is, let's see, so first of all, remember now, I told you the last time I was here, I told you Newt Gingrich's book that's coming out in August is called 1945, which 4 and 5 is 9, it's actually 1995. But the 45 is a significant number to the New World Order. So the next thing they do, they go bring this doggone monkey. They done kill this monkey's father. Kill his father because they told this monkey, don't win a 3rd championship. We don't want no super niggas. He wins his third championship for Chicago, and the next thing you know, they execute his father. You understand? Oh, we burn up the body so you can't have no autopsy on this. You understand what I'm saying? And they're bringing on 2 doggone hicks down there, right? Okay, yeah. And he quits and all this type of thing. So what happened? They bring this doggone fool back, and he's going running ball again. He got to play, if it ain't baseball, he got to play some ball because that's where his mind is. Oh, he's the greatest entertainer. He's an asshole. Let's call it what it is. It's time for stop time out for playing ball. So they bring him back, and what the first thing they do? They put the number 45 on his shirt, the Newt Gingrich number. Why didn't they give him the other number? If it's retired, hell, you can bring it back out of retirement if it's his number. They put 45 on his doggone shirt, letting you know this whole thing. And the only reason why they brought him back because the whole baseball thing went haywire. You see, all this particular stuff that's actually going down, actually going down. Now, did I tell you the last time about this thing? They got this new concentration camp called Devil's Island. Did I tell you that? They got a concentration camp that it opened up. It's going to open up May 1st. It's called Devil's Island in the Everglades of Florida. No heat, no electricity, no air conditioning, no doctor. It's in the swamps with mosquitoes and all that. And if you have to go to the doctor, you have to work off. I think you get like 7 cents a day, a quarter a day, and you got to work up to $7 to even go to the doctor. And these are new concentration camps. Also, we actually went down and saw the concentration camp in Indiana, which has an incinerator there that can actually burn up to 3,000 bodies a day. We saw this thing is built in the old Amtrak station, where the train can put the Negroes on the train and roll them right into the particular station. But we've also saw the trains that is made with shackles embedded into the trains in Valdosta, Georgia. After the Matrix system book said it in 1991 that the train derailed and it had shackles in it. But we actually saw these particular trains, and they have closed down Amtrak in smaller places, and these Amtrak and go straight into the particular station. And they have, and now the reason how they're going to pull all this stuff off is they have Russian troops that don't really read English. So on the back of these particular signs, they got red and blue markers, and they can follow the markers and go straight to the particular concentration camps. And these are the people that's going to be manning these things because they don't have an allegiance to you because they don't know you. You see. But they have this particular train that's going that rolls right in, and they have this. I mean, it's infirmaries there. No, excuse me, it's incinerators, and these things are crematoriums, and they burn up to 3,000 bodies a day. But on the other hand, like I told the people, they need to go and get the movie The Harvest because they're talking about the biggest thing that's going on is body parts. Now, body parts is the biggest thing that's going on because it's the number one. They got to get the melanated parts because they don't reject the body. These white parts reject the body, so they have to get the melanated parts. Now, the biggest thing that's going on at this particular time is these body parts, and as a result, they had a particular brother. I think this brother, he was a part of the Nation of Islam, and he was down in Jacksonville, Florida, and he was at one of these colleges down there. Now, supposedly the Ku Klux Klan is not the Ku Klux Klan with the sheets. We talking about big-time businessmen that run the businesses that you work for. They have a ritual every Valentine's Day that they get a black person to eat that person's heart. Then the other parts, like the brains and all that, they cut up, put them in ice, and ship them all across the country to people that need those particular parts. Well, this particular brother in the Nation that was raising hell down there, he ended up missing during Valentine's Day, and we know what happened to him. They used him this time as a target for the ritual. They didn't just want an ignorant person. They wanted a person that can actually go and that was a conscious person. So that was the big thing in this particular dispensation of time. Now, the other thing is in Atlanta, there's no more homeless. The homeless overnight, about a year ago, they have cleaned all homeless people up. And they had a big homeless problem in Atlanta. They had the homeless sleeping on top of the vents. They have cleaned them all up, and as a result, one of the sisters saw it, and this thing happened simultaneously in Atlanta and also in L.A. I think did I tell you about that the last time I was here? I think it was a week after I came. When did I come in? I came in February. About a week after I came, they had this task force came and hit the projects in Atlanta, I think Carver Homes. And they rounded up about 20 black men. One brother got away and ran on MARTA bus system, which is the transit system, but he didn't understand that all that is run by the actual government and FEMA, the Federal Emergency Management Act. So he ran on there, and the brother on the bus would not, it was an empty bus, and the brother would not take him where he wanted to go, so he threw the brother off the bus and couldn't get the bus in gear, and the white men ran on the bus, and he jumped out the window and got all cut up, but they got him anyway. And they came around in these particular white TV vans, the ones that you see with the 11 Alive and these particular Channel 5, but they just don't have the thing on the top. They came in about 10 or 12 of those and was putting these black people up. And they have taken those particular black people to Oregon because there's a concentration camp in Oregon. And they have taken them down to Oregon and they're making them into body parts, and they're getting the body parts. Some people say, well, hell, why they snatch up bums? First of all, the bum got a better body part than you because the bum don't eat as much as you, so therefore, even though he lives out on the street, his body cleans out haphazardly because he doesn't eat enough, so his body is not diseased. That's why you always say, well, hell, why all the bums always still out here living, but everybody is well-to-do, black bourgeoisie, rich people and all this stuff, and also the other people that's not on the street, they dying like flies, but the bums be living out there year after year because they don't eat the same thing based on they don't have enough money. So that's the best one for the body parts. You see, so based on diet. So they're taking those particular ones up also too. So these are some things that's actually going down at this particular time. Now, what I want to do is I want to get to some other particular things that we're dealing with at this particular time. We're going to go back. Because right now, my main thing right now is to deprogram the mind, to take a person to act back beyond Kemetic, or back beyond what you would call Africa or ancient Africa. We want to go all the way back. So what I want to do at this particular time is actually go back. So I made a pledge that if nobody didn't learn anything, they should have at least gotten these particular scriptures. So I say these on every last one of my particular lectures. I always give out these particular scriptures. And you notice it's Psalms 82 verse 1 with people who have pencils. Psalms 82 verse 1, and God standeth on the congregation of the mighty, and he judges among the gods. Which means that's judging among you because you are gods. And you must understand these particular things that's actually going on. Now, because some of these particular spirituality will work for you if you realize that you're not just a person of under God, but you're a joint heirs with the Christ, and you are the Christ, and you are God too. So therefore, your whole reality will be different. Right now, I'll tell you how powerful this is to let you know. I went to the mounds in Tennessee, or in Indian mounds in Tennessee Monday. And while we was on there, we received information that they have a whole consortium of white people have consolidated together. And they took 3 black people to get the energy, all to try to put some doggone stuff on me to try to hurt me based on some witchcraft. But the stuff hadn't been working, and the particular magic is weak. Now, why is the magic weak, and why the magic cannot penetrate? Number one, first of all, the only magic there is on the planet is the magic that the black man and the black woman brought forth, or the spiritual divination systems. Because there's only power. You can use it for negative or positive. So therefore, when they unleash the particular entities on me, it's the same damn entities that I'm pouring doggone libation to. So all that coming and doing is making me more stronger. I get juice all of a sudden, and all the next thing I got a burst of energy because some doggone crackers are doing some rituals to hurt me. But then again, there's no such thing as rituals outside of black people. You understand? So, and plus also because my mind understands that what you call black magic only means black people's magic. So hell, if you're giving me black people magic, it's the same damn magic that I'm invoking for my own self. So therefore, no kind of negative stuff can actually hurt me. You see, so in actuality, they have been trying for over a year, and they have tried everything. And it can't work. Another thing is humility. I don't give a doggone about nothing physical at all. I live without money, basically. You understand what I'm saying? I have no other job than when I go do a lecture, and it might be 2 weeks apart before I go do a lecture, and I'm the lowest paid. I say, well, I come for $300. Somebody say I got $250. I come for that. But that's all the money I got in the world. I have no bank account. So therefore, I don't live in my desires. How these rituals work and all is they feed on your passions. So if you have a passion for money, that's what they do. They put you into the money realm, and therefore you go on that realm trying to get paid, and therefore get you off the spiritual path. You see what I'm saying? So it feeds on your passions and stuff. If you got a large ego, then the first thing happens is you start doing things, and the next thing you know, you start going against the actual people that you so-called helping, because your ego won't let you go forward. Therefore, you want somebody to worship you or bow down to you. So therefore, the whole thing is to forget this world. I don't even live in this world no more. I'm here, but I'm someplace else. You see what I'm saying? So also, I was saying, Brother Noah got a little son, and I noticed him. I've noticed him the last time, and my spirit just picked up. This little boy don't do nothing according to the laws of whatever. If you say it's white, he gonna say it's black. But then again, on the other hand, I'm understanding that spiritually, he's in tune. Because also, if you are a model of this society in a world like this, and you doggone function in this society at the utmost of the standard of this society, you got to be ultimately dead. You understand what I'm saying? Ultimately dead. Like I said, be in this world, but not of this world. Check? All right then. So now, based on this here, you must understand the ye of God. If you don't get nothing, you must understand this. And that's why Psalms and John chapter 10, verse 34 to 36 says, and Jesus answered unto them, is it not written in your law that I say, ye are gods? And he called them gods unto whom the word of God came. And the scriptures cannot be broken. And he says, whom the Father has sanctified and sent into the world, thou blasphemest, because I have said that I am the Son of God. But that's like the disciples saying, we can't get along without you when you're going. He said, didn't I say in my Lord that you are God? And just as I have done great works, greater works you shall do. And be ye perfect as I am. That means in order to be perfect, you got to be the exact duplication or personification of what he is, which means that you have the same things in your body. Now, when I got a lot of good pictures here today, and when we start going into this stuff, and I'm going to show you how some things is already getting ready to go down, so you all just stick with it. Check. Now, the other one is Romans chapter 8, 14, verse 14, 16, and 17. For as many is led by the Spirit, they are the sons of God. And if our spirit bears witness, if their spirit bears witness with our spirit, we are the children of God. And if children, then heirs. And if heirs, then joint heirs with the Christ. Which means that Christ ain't got nothing on you. He is your brother and has passed through the Stargate, and he's giving you the example of what you must do, because you all got the Stargate. The mystery to Christ is not one person. The mystery to Christ is you are all Christ. You understand what I'm saying? You just got to be turned on. You understand what I'm saying? Somebody got to flip that doggone remote control down at the cable office and turn your doggone light on. It's simple as that. Okay? Now, I had to give that Bible verse because I wanted to do some things on this particular part. This is some stuff coming out of England. What is a God but man? Now, they're getting this off of the Gnostic scriptures. What is a God but man? Wielding the force of chaos. Remember that word chaos, because it's very important that you understand chaos, or what they call quantum physics, or what they call new physics in the field of education. You see, the white boys got to jump on you. They give you that garbage, mathematics, and all that bull jive. There is what you call academics, or what you call chemistry, and what you call the 7 liberal arts, and then there's what is called occult chemistry, occult science, which means only that which is hidden. And they have taken the actual blueprint of where the other stuff is coming out, and they give you the actual stuff when you go into actual college to learn that stuff. And you learn the mathematics proportion is only an indicator of what there's something greater. And the spiritual stuff you don't get. That's taught in the lodge. You understand what I'm saying? That's called quantum physics, chaos physics. You understand? Which is nothing talking about melanin magic, or what you call dark matter magic. Okay, it's called, what is man but God? Wheeled from the force of chaos, the black dot. And to him, nothing is true, and everything is permitted. Now, that's not talking about the white man, because the laws that came down for him is he had to have a strict code of ethics and moral dogma, because he didn't know how to behave. This is talking about the gods. You understand what I'm saying? So now this is anything dialectically opposed to what you call fundamentalism, where somebody else is the God and you worship it. We're not saying there's not a prime creator. We're just saying that you part of that prime creator. Hell, if you got a lake and you got a doggone beach, is not the water in the beach and the water in the lake the same damn water? Right? All right, that's all it is. You the microcosm of the macrocosm. It says nothing is true and everything is permitted. What do they mean by that? They mean that there's knowledge on top of knowledge, and when you go to this level, there's another level, and you never get on top of it. You see what I'm saying? That's why you got to neutralize the ego, because we all in the kindergarten worth of knowledge, but yet we want to teach somebody something, or we want to doggone say this is it. And we all in kindergarten with the knowledge. You see what I'm saying? And it keeps going on, keeps going on. So nothing is true, everything is permitted. There is no purpose in the existence. He is the force that chooses his own. He's talking about the gods. Now this is you. This is breaking the restrictions of what you would call moral dogma or fundamentalism from you, because it's kept you into slavery up to now. Check? Yes. He has bound himself to the earth forever and reincarnates at will until he has had enough of the teachings. You will bind yourself on this classroom until you have had enough of the teaching. You say, I'm ready to go to another level. I've been taught on this level. So even though you might be ignorant now, 360 degrees of knowledge is in you, and you have been going through reincarnation cycle, so you know the knowledge. It's getting ready to come out. Check? All right. For the universe is a mad, and it is arbitrary in her ways, which means it's chaos. Never stops moving. Y'all stick with me, because there's going to be some real deep stuff tonight when I start showing you these pictures. All right, we just set you up. Nothing is, it says, nothing is unchangeable except change itself. You understand what I'm saying? Everything can change except change itself, because change is changing. Check? Yeah. The only universal principle is the universal lack of principle. You see, the only universal principle is the universal lack of principle. See, this is breaking down all the particular stuff. I'm going to explain this in a few minutes. What I'm talking about in a few minutes. I'm going to go and explain this in a few minutes. Yet, the great black mother goddess Chaos will lend her powers to those who can become her favorites. Her favorites, her original black children, with her stargate in them. That means all that's up there, the only people that's going to lend it to is the one that's got a part of that in it. Now, what do I mean by, what I mean by the only principle, universal principle, is the lack of principle. Because I went to Hampton University. So all the little black brothers and sisters, I've met a lot of people, 18, 19, 20, you know, up to about 23, and they got on, you know, all of them got the little twists and the dreads and everything like that and all. So when you first get in Afrocentricity, the first thing you do is you learn a certain behavior. You see what I'm saying? You learn it, and I understand at first the goal and the objective is you don't want to be like the white man. So the first thing is the brother say, brother, why you cut your hair? I say, you're right. I say, first of all, I got the chemical out of it, so therefore I don't have the stuff on the inside, so it don't shut down my crown chakra. I said, but on the other hand, he was like, well, brother, you know, why you cursing or why you doing this type thing? I said, what you doing, brother, you dealing with the physical mannerism, and it's keeping you from going inside. Oh, so you learn how to, you know, you put on all the African clothes, you get the dreads, all that's positive. Now, don't get me wrong. You get the dreads, and then all of a sudden, you put on this particular stuff, and you learn how to be this whole Afrocentric mode, which is positive for the simple fact that you want to have a people that don't identify with white so often. But all of a sudden, you start getting stuck there. You start getting stuck there, and it keeps you from going inside. And then the next thing, the objective that you sought to change yourself becomes just as bad as the objective that you tried to bring yourself out of. You just coming from one dichotomy to the other, and you stuck in the same phase. And I said, that is because you have been trained on a moral dogma standard that you got to act a certain way outwardly, and it shields your pathology inwardly. Y'all understand where I'm coming from? You see what I'm saying? It shields your pathology inwardly. Check. So this is why all of a sudden, after 10 years of the Afrocentric movement, half them niggas done sold you out. Oh, brother, and they done got over on you. You see what I'm saying? Because you don't understand until you go inwardly, it don't manifest outwardly, but you can change outwardly, and it can stop the flow of going inwardly. Now, go with a few other things, because I'm going to, let's see if I can get this other piece, because I'm going to show you something on the ego. We need to deal with this particular thing. First of all, let me go into this elder race. The elder race. The elder race. It says after, now we're going to go far beyond. Now for those people who don't believe in Atlantis and Lemuria, that's because you ain't been studying. Oh, I got with all the scholars, and I said, where the hell you get this stuff from? I say, okay then, you want documentation. So I start documenting with all the scholars at the Melanin Conference, and they had to bear witness to it. I say, you just didn't read the Hermes Trismegistus material, where it simply said that Tahuti comes from a land of the deluge, beyond the Nile. You see what I'm saying? And they say that his particular work is undateable. So when you talk about Atlantis and Lemuria and all that type of stuff, you talking about particular stuff is all in the documents. You just got to sift it out. One good book you need to get is Health Researchers just put it back out. It's Atlantis and Lemuria by Rudolf Steiner. Atlantis and Lemuria by Rudolf Steiner. Now this book came out in 1925, supposedly before Honorable Elijah Muhammad, Master Farah Muhammad came to teach Honorable Elijah Muhammad. And you laughed at that stuff, but yet the cracker in almost 5 years before Master Farah Muhammad came to teach him, he bear witness to the same thing that the white man was created. The white man was created. Bear witness that the sun was separated from the moon. All in this particular book. You see? So therefore, it's just you just haven't dug deep enough. Or is there a conspiracy of hidden history, and they're only giving the scholars what they want them to know? Don't go beyond Egypt for 3,000 years. And everything else is vague. You can hit on it, but you don't get the complete gnosis. Now, let's go into this particular thing. After the earth and the planet has cooled, it was ready for the inhabitants. A race arrived from outer space who was not human. Now, but was the original true race of men. Now, this particular person he's talking rubbish. He said they ain't human, but he said they had an original true race of men. You understand what I'm saying? Now, but they were called the Cyclopean race and are known in the secret arcane as the elder race. So he's doing the metaphysical thing again. He's talking to one people, and you thinking it's a damn person with a damn one eye and the forehead and no other eyes. Cyclopean means the third eye. Check. Are the Elohim elder race. And simply the elves before coming to earth, they had traveled through space and all over the great cycles of times. They were titans and they rode the starways. And they still, in other dimensions in time and space, sought ways, and they always sought the best green pastures for their stock or their flock. The first life on the planet was the inheritors of the legends, was the great race of elder race who preceded man. Now we go back into that because, like I said, at one time you were gods. Manetho said, before pre-dynastic Kemetic, the gods used to rule. That's when your third eye was open, your chakra system, and your higher self. You understand? So they are saying that this particular elder race preceded man. It's metaphysical to say that the man with the shut down faculties, it was Superman, then it was man. Go look at Superman 2. When the people, when the glass shattered and these three black figures got out and came back, started running the earth. Check. Some of the elves were true Cyclops, third eye, and they had only a great central eye in the middle of their forehead. Others had two eyes like human beings. Oh, yeah, right. He double talking in this thing. And still others had developed the psychic third eye, which is all the same thing, and were 12 feet tall, male and female, and was no sex differential, which means in actuality they were spiritually compatible to each other, male and female. But it did say that they were 12 feet tall. Well, you know that based on Herodotus accounts, that these people were 12 feet tall when you would have Manute Bol being the damn shortest person in his family, but the tallest person in the NBA. Now, it also says that the other man came, and this other man, or what they would call as animal man, can never be elves. So in actuality, they are saying that there are two different evolutions of races on the earth, whereas one is not involved in the other. Get the last chapter of the book, People with the Secret, when the Sufis are saying this particular thing. Now, what the people are saying is, now, what happened? It says, oh man, realize that you are the highest form of deity in the universe. There is nothing beyond you. And in this case, you are grand. And in this case, you are the lowest. Now let me explain this. You are the lowest. It says because you are the highest, you are the lowest. The mama got to get down on her knees to put the children on the back. So therefore, all the animals and stuff, and not only that, all the other beings in the actual planet, because they gave you the key, you got to bear the burden of others, so you got to go through the karma, the reincarnation, and all the hell, and go through total death. So therefore, there won't be nothing that you haven't done, so therefore you can regain the universe. Check? All right. Earth is a school for God. Man shall harvest man among the earth. Man who has lost the vestige of the human. There are those of earth today. Now this is what it says. We'll read this part. Earth is a classroom for godhood, not Mars, not Venus, not Jupiter, not magnificent Saturn, nor the spiritual Neptune, Pluto, or Mercury, even the sun and its bodies. The lotus rises on the earth. That's the Nile, that's the lotus. You have been picked for the special experimentation, so therefore the entire universe is waiting on you. Why? Because ain't nothing in the universe has gone through you, what you have gone through, cultural amnesia. Everything knows what everything is. Everything knows what everything is. Now, like I said before, everything shut down in Atlantis and all that. In that particular time, you were gods. There was a particular group of people called the Dagon, which also Reverend Valentine agrees that the melanin curves were both black and green. That green element was called the Dagon that went down in the Atlantic Ocean, and they shape-shifted into mermaids. This is some true stuff. They get this stuff from your history. All you got to go is go look into any metaphysical encyclopedia and they say Dagon, Dag, fish man. You see some particular people in the Serious Mystery book with fish scales on. They shape-shifted into mermaids, and later on they shape-shifted into dolphins. Now, to understand what shape-shifting is, you need to go see the movie Thunderheart, where they show you shape-shifting is what the Indians can do to this day. So you shape-shifted to also keep from actually going on, and some people left and went to the other mainlands, which was Kemetic was a form of the mainland, on spaceships. That's where you get the flying arcs. Your whole Noah's Ark in the Bible is actually talking about Atlantis and not talking about no other time that flooded. And the ark was not no boat with no 400 animals on a damn wooden boat. The ark was spaceships. They call them flying arks. And if you study Kemetic, you will see these particular arks. But the daggone shape-shifting, and those are the actual dolphins who are now going and running themselves into the fish neck to sacrifice because this stuff is all over. And the whales is also, because the dolphins have intellect like humans, greater than humans because they got the spiritual part, as well as the actual whales are beaching themselves now because this particular time is up. Get the book on Dolphins, Dolphins, Telepathy, and Underwater Birthing by Timothy Wiley. They go into all of that particular part about the actual dolphins. Now we go all the way back to a particular time when you came to this earth. It was called the Ophidian current. They call it Orion, but the original name is Ophidia. The Ophidian current. And that particular Ophidian current brought what is called the Draconian current. The Draconian cult is a cult of the dragon, of the deep ones of space, that brought to earth the Ophidian current that was worshipped by the ancient Typhons under the symbol of Apep. The Typhonian cult is full-flowering primal African mysteries which occurred in ancient Kemet in the primordial times. Now, that was the original religion, was the Draconian current. Now, Sut, which was the original god, was actually called Al-Sut. Al, which means God, and Sut, which means the black. Al-Sut, our word Sut, derives from this incalculably ancient name. Am I going too fast for you? Huh? I got the juice now, so it's rolling. Okay. This incalculably ancient name, Sut, was the primordial god of the Egyptians. No earlier god exists in recorded history of the present human race. He was known in Kemet as the doubling one, therefore the creator and the reflector. That's Sut. I'm going through some stuff, the pre-stuff, before I get into some other stuff. Now, that was actually Sut. Now, a book that you want to get, we're going to go through all kind of stuff. This particular book you want to get to understand the Christian story was Moses. The life of Moses was Akhenaten. That was the heretic king that grew up in the Pharaoh's house. And his story is recorded in Donald Redford's book, The Heretic King, and also Moses was Akhenaten, and Akhenaten was Akhenaten. So what you know of as Moses was Akhenaten's priest. Because Akhenaten could not speak the language of a Hebrew people, because what happened with Akhenaten was he tried to establish the ancient faith of his mother Ethiopia, where you got the god Aton that came from an ancient god Sut-Nesi. He tried to establish this because his mother knew that the priesthood of Ra and Amun was actually fighting against each other. So when Queen T came in, she tried to establish, she had this spiritual son, and this spiritual son tried to establish the older faith. And as a result, he got ran out. He didn't get killed, as a lot of people say. He got run to Sinai. Doesn't sound interesting, don't it? He got ran out of Kemet to Sinai. And as a result, he took another group of people with him that was some people who were northern Ethiopians. That was the original Jew. It was a family fight against the Egyptians and the early people. You see what I'm saying? Now, you need to get a book that was banned up until 1993 called Celestial Ship of the North by E. Valentino Stratton. Celestial Ship of the North. He took the works of Jeremiah and Blavatsky and put it together and made this particular book, and they banned the book till 1993, and the book was banned for over 70 years. And in that book, they also document northern Ethiopians Also, you can get the Book of the Beginnings where all of the subsequent work that he put in his book came from the original work, Gerald Massey's Book of the Beginnings, volume 2 volumes. Now, it's interesting because he hooked up with the northern Ethiopian people because his mother was Ethiopian. But they had the Hebrew language at that time that came out of Ethiopia. And he couldn't speak the language because he grew up in the house of the Pharaoh. It was all black people. So Moses, who was the high priest of Ammon, and also Musa, who was the high priest of Ammon, went with him to speak the language of the Hebrews. And after Akhenaten died, you remember now the Holy Torah was printed 700 years after the death of Moses. So after Akhenaten died, because Moses could speak the tongue of the Hebrews, they took Akhenaten's life in his particular portrayal and put it on the actual priest of Akhenaten's doggone doctrines. And you can get all this in this book, A-H-M-E-D, Ahmed Osman, Moses, Pharaoh of Egypt, the mystery of Akhenaten Unsolved. Book came out in 1990 and no black people ever heard about it. But it was in the occult realm and the white people got it. The book is, you can get it from P-A-L-A-D-I-N Press. Moses, Pharaoh of Egypt. Ahmed Osman, he got 2 or 3 other books out. But this is a key book to break down that particular science that went on. Now, that leads me to what I came for. The book you're going to get is a book called Godfrey James. Godfrey James. And the name of the book is called Enochian Magic. It's by Llewellyn Press. Enochian Magic. The most powerful system of magic in the world in its unexplicated form. But just remember, Godfrey James' new book, Enochian Magic. Now, what is this? The Enochian Egypts come from Enoch, which is Tahuti, that was formerly Sut. It's an angelic race of people, an angelic particular science. And what happens is this. And this is what I got a boy that's killing these crackers, getting these crackers off his behind. I'm going to show you some ways to get this crack off your behind tonight. This Enochian deities are these angelic deities that the white boys have had for the last 700 years. They were brought up out of Kemetic by the Moors of Spain. They brought these texts up, and a magician by the name of John Dees, who was Queen Victoria's magician, translated this particular stuff after the Moors left it at the University of Salamanca, or one of the 16 other universities. They left certain texts behind. And as a result, he translated it, and they had these particular systems, but they couldn't use them up to now. The reason why they couldn't use them is because they would get stab wounds, they'd get the throat cut, they'd burn up, and these entities, they would come in and just kill them up. The only one was able to go up to 30 ethers, which is 30 levels of melanin. And the only one was able to go all the way up to the 30 ethers was Aleister Crowley, because he had the black dot, because he was one of the black druid lines. Even though he looked white, he had the black dot. So therefore he was able to go, because when you use your knowledge, the stuff that kills them and hurt them, it works for you. Now this particular Enochian entities is very powerful. Now the key to this whole thing is this. They got an Enochian alphabet. And that particular Enochian alphabet that they have traced the language all over the world, and they can't find no language that even come close to it but a derivative of all the African languages. So that means that the angelic host that they're talking about is all black. Because whether they're Enochian, whether they're the angelic of the Kabbalah, whether they're the Netters of Kemet, they're talking about all black people. You see what I'm saying? So the angels up there's all black people. Now isn't that some kind of the arrogance of the white man? They got, in these metaphysical bookstores, they got thousands of books on the angel. And they don't have, not only do they have not one black angel, now I can understand not having one black angel because I understand that the white man is racist by nature. But I can't understand why they don't put no other race, but it's all white. You see what I'm saying? But these Enochian deities that they have, you can use these things and you can get those particular Enochian books and start doing it. I got a brother right now that's using the stuff down in Chattanooga, Tennessee, and he messing these crackers up. See what I'm saying? And you can do that. Why? Because there's no such thing as no particular karma when it comes to the doggone white boy who is a mutant in the first place, who don't exist. You see what I'm saying? Now, like I said before, you have, we're rambling through all kinds of things today. You have the Fish University that also went broke based on, and some of the people have seen this, based on, they took some, they took some skeletons in 1980, and they started actually operating on these skeletons, and they found out that all white people got tails. Some of the tails, not 5% of the tails are, 5% of the tails are inside of the actual skin, so you can't see. Most of the tails are inside of the skin, but they do have a tail. It's just not dormant. 1 out of 5 have a dormant tail, and this is the actual picture of that tail. There was a brother from the Nation of Islam got some better ones, and this is a picture of that particular tail that I wanted to show. Now it's interesting because I got another friend that used to work, his sister used to work for some of these white people. Worked for this white boy, this white woman, and they had a door cut out, and she used to go and slide food under this door. And she heard this little thing in there hollering, but she could never go in the door. But one day they accidentally left the door unlocked. And she slid the food up under there, and she noticed the door was unlocked, with a little crack. So she opened it up, and this little white boy with a tail was swinging on a swing like a monkey. And she got the hell out of there and never came back. And never came back and all. So now this is also the stuff that also came out of, this is one of the pictures, but also they had concluded that in Tuskegee University, in Fish University in Nashville, and as a result they told them not to print what they found, and as a result they printed a small article and they took the money from them, and that's why they almost like they went broke in the 80s. Now went broke in the 80s. Now there's some, like I said, there's some also better pictures than these particular ones, but we was able to get this particular picture, and it's in my book called the Human Artificial. Now that leads me back to this Aryan race. White boys are calling themselves the Aryan nation, but we got new things. The original Aryans were black people. White people came out of the caves, and what they really literally did is came in on these particular peaceful people, and they literally killed over 100,000 of them. And as a result, the people retreated back into Africa, or they retreated into India, and also that's where you get that lighter first type of Indian, but the original Aryan nation is doggone black people. So when these white people talking about this Aryan thing, because they're going to try to make that jump, they talk about these Aryan races, they're actually talking about black people, and they're trying to call themselves that. They're nothing but a straight up mutant, you see, straight up mutant. And so, and the other ones retreated back into Africa. Now, like I said too, your Yakub story, you can either go and get the movie Blade Runner, because the movie Blade Runner came out to commemorate the Yakub story. The Yakub story, and the movie is talking about these mutants that are made, but they're for the androids, but they got blood and all this stuff, and they were made by different particular scientists. But like I said too, now for those particular people that's saying that's crazy, we already got the Kemetic records of Yakub. We have the documents of the Kemetic records of Yakub in Donald Redford's new book, Israel, Canaan, and Egypt. The Kemetic records of Yakub. I don't want to stay too much on the whiteboard. I want to give those particular things. Also, we do have Hitler, based on the Philadelphia experiment, Hitler and time travel. What happened with Hitler was, come to find out, no one ever knew how Hitler died. But we remember now that the whole World War II thing was a fight between the Vatican in Rome and the white so-called Aryans that time, and the Pope wanted to get control of the Illuminati money, because the Rothschild or the Rothschilds, who was the Jews, was running it in England. So they got together with Mussolini and Hitler, and they wanted to run and get control of the doggone money, because Hitler was also in the occult thing, and he knew all about this stuff. So as a result, it was a family fight that went on, and that was the whole thing and all. So they just wiped out the Jews that was living in that particular area, and the Pope and all was in on it. It was two people wanting the money. And Rothschilds had enough money to influence people to win out at the end. Now, as a result, even though they're all in this thing together, they decided, they told him he had one choice. Either he could die, or they had just completed the Philadelphia experiment that went on in 1943, because I think the end of the war was, what, 45? So they told him that he could get, and he could go, he can get, and because they had this technology, and he could get transported. And he got transported into 1983, Hitler. He died around 1985, because once that mutant gets transported through time, what happens is his body starts to mutate faster, and he gets older. Because and this is other information, and all the other information, like I said, we check out with the actual spiritual realm. Now, a book that you need to get is a book called A White Woman Named Corbett. She's talking about the Ark of the Covenant. She's from Canada, but you know the other book to prove that the Ark of the Covenant was in Ethiopia was Graham Hancock's book, The Sign and the Seal. Now, this woman called Corbett wrote a book, and she said once the Ark was taken, it would be World War III. But that Ark was taken last year in September, in February of '94. They had a big conference, and the white boys convinced the doggone black Ethiopians, the Beta Israel, which you know philosopher Jews, to give up the Ark, and they gave the Ark up to them. Now, as a result, they supposedly had this particular Ark, but what happened is that the spiritual realm took the energy from the Ark. Now, you know the Ark was nothing but the chest of Osiris. You can get that in Albert Churchward's book as well as Dr. Ben's book. But also, if you want to study up on it, get Graham Hancock's book where he goes and deals with that particular stuff. And the science came from Atlantis. So now the spiritual realm took that ark and they took the actual energy out of it, so all they got is a chest now. It's an expensive chest, but nevertheless they got a chest that don't work, you see, that don't actually work. Now, like I said before, we got new evidence based on Nostradamus. One particular person was dealing with magnetism. Did you ever get that tape? This guy said that he had to get a book from France translated to understand magnetism, and when he got the book translated, he found a translation from Nostradamus. Now, they got over 100 Nostradamus books out. He got a translation of Nostradamus, and in this translation, Nostradamus says that black people will take back the earth and come into their own in the 90s. But you don't never see that in none of the books. Also, if you saw the last ancient prophecies in the spring of last year, they showed this little black boy with a turban walking around behind, or a black man with a turban walking around behind Nostradamus. If you see any ancient pictures of the Moors or any ancient pictures of white people in Europe, excuse me, not ancient, but classical pictures of white people in Europe, you will see a black person behind them. And you thought it was a servant, but that was the actual teacher, based on the leftover Moors in Spain, and they got that tradition of when the Moors was in Spain teaching them. So Nostradamus was taught all his stuff by a black boy to do with this, what time it was. Also, you need to go see the movie Rob Roy. Now, you need to go see the movie to see how filthy white people are. I mean, they're filthy. But in the movie, the king at that particular time, he got a little black boy, and even though they're portraying him as a servant, it's a little black boy with a red turban on. Even though they're portraying him as a servant, it's for the metaphysical people to understand that the little black boy was actually the teacher for the king that was actually ruling at that time. So go see that movie, Rob Roy, to understand what's actually going down. Now, let's go into a couple of other things. Number one, you're going to get a particular book called The Alien God by Hans Jonas. It's called The Gnostic Religion by Hans Jonas and the Message of the Alien God. Now, who is the alien God? First of all, there's no such thing as space and time, and there's no such thing as planets, as you know, you understand quantum physics. All you seeing out there is dimensions. And each star you seeing out there is dimensions, and you go through dimensions. That's why the white boy ain't been able to build an effective machine to go to no other planets. Because he can't go this way. He can't go outwardly. You got to go inwardly. You go through dimensions this way, and since the white boy don't have the porthole or the black or the Stargate, he can't get nowhere but stay on the doggone third dimension. Because the Stargate, you got to have melanin to travel in the chaos sphere. You understand? So therefore, once the third dimension slowed down, once the other dimension slowed down to the third dimension, we became alien to the dimension that we own, this third dimension. So this book is explaining about the alien God, which is talking about the black man that used to be God of this planet and used to rule this thing, but the dimension slowed down, and so therefore he is alien. So he's reporting back in this book, in the scriptures, to the ones who didn't get trapped in this particular experiment. And he's reporting back saying, I can't function down here. Literally. He's saying, I can't wait till the day that you come back and fix this thing. He's saying, because I'm tired of these wicked ones that has now become conducive to these, the ones we created, and I'm tired of them, and at this time conspiring against me. And a whole lot of stuff on the creation, the black realm, and all that is in this book. The message of the alien God and the beginning of Christianity. And this particular book is an old book that was printed in the 1930s. 1958, excuse me. Hans Jonas. Real good book to understand who is the alien that they're talking about. You are the alien. You understand? You are the ones that is not only on this realm that's not bound to this earth, like they say, the cracker is bound to this earth. You are the ones, you was bound to this earth for experiment, but you can go beyond this particular realm. Now, explain some stuff about the shadows. You want to learn some other stuff about melanin, you need to go and start reading Jung's psychology work. You know Jung, the Professor Jung, or Jung, some people call him Jung, some people call him Jung. He was the teacher of Freud, but Freud was a doggone psychotic person. Jung, what happened with him, Jung, they dug up some doggone texts, some Gnostic texts in 1930-something. And Jung bought the doggone text, and as a result, he patterned all of his psychological stuff off of that stuff. But if you want to study that particular stuff, he came closer to it. And before he died, he said that the black man and black woman was God. You see. Now, and all of his work came off these Gnostic texts. You can get some greater translation of the Gnostic text in the book, The Egyptian Secrets of the Gnostic, the Secret Book of the Egyptian Gnostics by Jean Duress, who was a papyrologist out of the University out of the Louvre in Paris that translated some of this particular stuff. Where it translates to Jesus Christ, there's a passage in there where Jesus Christ took. Now this is coming from the translation. You see what I'm saying? Where Jesus Christ took his members up on a certain level, and when he took them to a certain level of spirituality, there was a big-ass mothership waiting out there to pick them up. In the translation, then he goes on in the footnotes and said that Jesus or Yeshua knew the science by being in the mystic system. He knew the science on opening up certain gateways, and he translated that he probably read a science of magical papyrus out of the Leyden papyrus in England. And there's a little $5 book you can get called the Leyden papyrus, the magical papyrus. And he gives a footnote on what page it was. So in 1993, I did the damn ritual, and sure enough, that same night I started opening up. You see. So the Leyden papyrus, different things in that papyrus. Little $5 book by Dover. You see, by Griffiths. Griffiths was the person who bought the papyrus, and it was in the British Museum. But that particular, so Jung patterned half his stuff was off that, and so there's a thing called the Negrito. You was thinking Negro, which was negative, even though the Afrocentric scholars tried to come in and give you some other thing. They didn't understand the concept of where the shit came from, excuse the expression. Then it comes from the word Negrito. The Negrito comes from a Kemetic term that the Arabs started using. Because remember now, the Arabic language and the Kemetic language, the Arabic language is a derivative. You see. So the word Negrito means the black sun. Now, it says Saturn, which is the planetary representation of Sirius, is identified with Yahweh, and is also called Sol Nigger, S-O-L-N-I-G-E-R, Sol Nigger, the black sun. So Sol, which means sun, Solomon, Amun, which means hidden, Solomon, which means hidden sun, metaphysical. You understand what I'm saying? Sol, which means sun, Sol Nigger, which means, Sol means sun, Nigger, which means come from the word Negrito, which means black sun. Or Negro comes from the black sun. Some people say, well, that means dead also. Well, death on the third dimension means life in another dimension. This is death. So if you call something else death, that means life. That's when they say the book of the dead. But it's also called the book of the coming forth by day, which means life. So death, what you know it, is life, and this is death. Trapped in a physical body, the jailhouse, the mummy bandages. When you see Osiris wrapped in mummy casing, this is it. This is the mummy. You wearing the mummy. It was a metaphysical. You want to get Jeremiah's book, Egyptian Book of the Dead and the Ancient Mysteries of Amenta for $9. That passage taken out of ancient Kemetic, ancient Egypt, light of the world. The bigger books for $90. But that book, the book of, which is the most authentic book of coming forth by day. The other one is just translated, but they don't go into the scientific part of it or the metaphysical part. Massey did, because Massey was a spiritual psychic, and he had the goddess Sekhmet with him, and the goddess Sekhmet walked him through the actual papyrus and told him what time it was. So the mummy, this is the mummy. You are trapped in swaddling bandages. This is the mummy, and you're going to rise up. Okay, the Saul nigger is the alpha meal literature, but there is a primordial man. Saul nigger means primordial man. You're the primordial man, primal. They say primitive. Primitive means primal, primordial man, first man. Also called Saturn Chronos, or Sebek Chronos, or Sut, or Sirius, or Sutan. The Gnostics saw the prince of darkness responsible for evil in the world. Evil as an adversary of the god of the element, which is the element needed to transcend to the God image. Now what they mean by evil. Anytime, see, you got to get out of this spooked up devil thing. Anytime you see evil in the Gnostic scriptures, it's talking about an adversary or evil opposed to the physical. You are trapped. Your spirit is trapped into the physical, and you're limited. You got to doggone take a dump. You got to eat. You got to do all those things, which is acquired functions based on your spiritual Godhead got trapped in this physical jailhouse. The dead zone, the casket, the mummy. But what they say is when they talk about the prince of darkness, they're talking about that one who is dialectical opposite, opposed from the physical, that can wake you up to another level. This is another aspect of God. Now I got some stuff to really explain this stuff when I go into the actual one. The black sun. Give me a picture of the black sun. The black sun, to give you, to show you, this is the black sun. It's called the black, now, that particular part there is called the black sun. Right up there you'll see a particular reptilian demon. You see a screw that represents the Kundalini. That reptilian demon that you see is the Kundalini in you. But you also see a demon called a Coronazone. It's the holy demon. Now what is this? First of all, I told you everything was inward. Okay? Was inward. Now, let me explain this black sun of the Negrito, or it's called the prima materia in alchemy. You go into your Godhead. The Kundalini is rising you to take you through the gateway, which is the black dot. But you have a lower nature. The lower nature likes it here. It wants to stay around. You understand? And it's going to do everything to keep you from going up. So therefore, it makes everything in your outside world seem impossible, so you'll get off the path. Oh shit, I ain't got no money. Oh this, oh that. You see what I'm saying? Everything that you're going through is the lower nature is keeping you from going through the doggone stargate. Now, because the lower nature really wants to get through. Once it see you rise, the lower nature says, well, hell, I'm going to try to go too. That's your ego. You want to take all the foolishness with you. You understand what I'm saying? All the jealousy, all the envy, all the petty stuff. So, you're going to go through the stargate. But something's going to happen. This particular demon, or it's called the double, it's later on called the devil. Switch on. The devil, which you call the double. It sits over the doorway. And it's ready to devour anything that is not pure to get through. So what it does, it kills the lower nature, so only the higher nature rises through the stargate, and you go to your Godhead and you become God again. You understand where I'm coming from? So the demon that you see is good. White people see this demon too. But since there is no higher self with them because the stargate is closed off, When they go up and try to hit the demon, the stargate is calcified, so the spirit hits the doggone ceiling and goes right to the demon, and the demon devours it. But since there's no stargate, the higher self can't come through, so it just neutralizes them. Whereas when it neutralizes you, that's good because you have a higher self, because you have the black melanin dot and the supreme function of the pineal gland. So when the demon or Satan or anything devours you, you understand? When it devours you, you go to your Godhead. Well, what happens? The cracker goes up this spiritual path. The Kundalini is the original hellfire. Everything is not literal. Those effects, the mundane, what you call fundamentalism, is talking about fairy tales. Everything that you think is literal in fairy tales that you have learned is an esoteric meaning. You just understand the exoteric meaning that was created to teach a white man whose temperament is that of the beast, and he's an animal, and he has to be humble. But you got the curse of Ham because you started reading the book that was written for him, and you're supposed to be reading the esoteric book, which is the Holy Kabbalah. And this is one of the best ones you need to get. Waite's Holy Kabbalah. Now y'all walk with me on this. The white boy goes up. The Kundalini is the hell's fire, and it burns the lower ego up. So when the white boy goes up, because he doesn't have the pineal gland or the gateway is not open, the high hellfire burns him up. When the hellfire burns you up, it burns up the lower half and you ascend into the higher half. And that's when you develop the wings, the ascension. The Kundalini hits the black dot. Because you have the black dot, which is a transcosmic gateway, you go through the stargate. You understand? The white boy, since his is closed off, he cannot get to that particular realm because he doesn't have it. That's the difference. Now, you're going to get this Waite's Holy Kabbalah. You have several scientific Kabbalah, A.E. Waite. A.E. Waite, Citadel Press. Your Bible comes from, the precursor of the Bible, the scriptures come from the Kabbalah. Now, mind you, me, the Kabbalah is not Hebrew because, the Kabbalah is not Hebrew because here's a picture of the Kabbalah on the temple walls at Kemetic. So the next time, even though the Hebrews are Ethiopians and it was the same thing, the Hebrew had the Kabbalah and the Kemetic had the Kabbalah. This goes all the way back to Atlantis, but it's all black. That's why no white Jew can't say that he's the mystic and he has the doggone Kabbalah, because the Kabbalah don't work for him. This is the physical documentation at the Temple of Como that predates the Hebrew Kabbalah, based on what the white boy is trying to say, that Abraham gave it to him. Abraham Abra, Abra, which means son. Ham, which means black. It means the black son, Abraham. It comes from the word Cam, that later on gets the word F in it, and which means Sam, Kemetic, which means black. So how can a white man be Semitic? Now, the one this is the scientific Kabbalah. One, if you want to study this, get on Beyond Fortune's Mystical Kabbalah. Several ones. You study the Kabbalah in the Medu Neter by Ra Nefer, Amun Ra. You study that one to understand those particular deities, the Kemetic deities. But the Kabbalah, there's all kinds. There's a Sufi Kabbalah. There's a Yoruba Kabbalah. This is the tree of life. You can line whatever deity to come in whatever language you're in. There are several black languages. It comes out of doggone Kemet. This is one for the Necronomicon that I'm going to get into. Now, this is the key. Waite's Kabbalah is giving you the scriptures. This is why you need to get this one. It's giving you the scriptures that are the precursor to the Bible. So everything that's messed up in the Bible, you need to go into this one. Now, I want to show you something that is unbelievable. And look at this. Look at this. You're going to go and you're going to read on page 323. Now remember, everything that you thought the Bible was talking about a place and a people, it was talking about on the inside. But the Bible is carved up for the ancient, for the savage man, so therefore he's getting it literally. And you have been stuck in that and get the thing literal. You understand what I'm saying? Now, what you need is the Kabbalah to understand that everything is inwardly, esoterically. This is the temple. Solomon, the hidden son, the temple of Solomon, which means, oh Solomon, I am black and comely. So the temple of Solomon is the black body. Who is the master mason who builds Solomon's temple? The black woman, because she has the temple. Damn man can't have no temple. So the real master mason is the black woman. How many masons up in here? Any masons? Any masons up in here want to challenge me on this? Well, that's not real masonry. Prince Hall is only a Jack and Jill club of a AKA or a doggone bridge club where you drink, look, and drive cabs and sing Negro spirituals. Ain't got nothing to do with no real mason whatsoever. And whatever the white boy got 33 degrees, he did get it from the doggone Moors who set up the Knights Templar. Then the York Rite came out of there. You understand the history of that. Now, going back to this, on page 323, now you're going to be a section in here called the Book of the Concealed Mystery. What is a concealment? Concealment is a circle that comes from the word Zebo out of the word Zebo out of Atlantis, where you get the first of your letters that 1 through 9 comes out of. Zebo is a circle, which means the black dot, which comes the word zero, which means melanin. And 1 through 9 completion comes out of zero, the black dot, which is chaos. You got it? Comes from Atlantis. Zebo comes from Atlantis. You see, filtered on down. Now there's a whole section in here called the Book of the Concealed Mystery. The Concealed Mystery is talking about the black dot melanin when you read it in here. They're going to give you some mystical stuff and stay on track. Now this is the point talking about the Messiah. Now, let me show you this particular part. There's a section in here called the Intruder. Let me